But the thing about Caleb Love, the biggest thing I think is there's a lot of guys that care about the name on the back of the jersey over the name on the front of the jersey first and foremost when it comes to North Carolina.
That's wild.
I think there's a lot of guys there that don't really want to play defense. It doesn't help that they don't have Dawson Garcia and that Curran Williams.
But
really
they weren't good with
going
Dawson Garcia. Like I'm tired of that.
It doesn't.
Tired of that
doesn't
crap.
help.
They weren't any good with them.
But the biggest issue, they have guys that seem to be more worried about points than they are about wins, and they have guys that don't want to defend. And that's a bad combination of things when you're going up against a team like Duke, who, let's call it what it is, they are the most talented team in college basketball. AJ Griffin is playing at his best right now. They have 2 top 5 picks. They're bringing a guy that's going to end up being an NBA player off the bench. How many?
You think AJ Griffin's going top 5?
I think he could. If you're
taking him over Jaden Ivey,
if you're going to give me a 6'6" wing with a 7-foot wingspan that has his ability on the defensive end of the floor that shoots it the way that he's been shooting it recently, I don't think that it's crazy to think that he could end up going to the top 5. Like that's what teams want. Yeah. Teams want going to be switchable defenders that can make threes.
I think you're probably right. He goes somewhere in the top 10. I'm not sure he cracks the top 5, but maybe.
Yeah, you're right. Top 10 is probably a potential top 5 pick.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the bottom line with Carolina, I still think the biggest question with Carolina, Rob, is are they a tournament team? They're 0-7 in quad 1 games. They've won every game. They've won every game at the Smith Center before today. So they were 12-0, I think, at the Smith Center before today.
Mm-hmm.
Now they lose this one, and they've just lost so many and been absolutely blasted. Kentucky by 29, Miami, who is a fringe tournament team, by 28, Wake's a fringe tournament team by 22. Then Duke today, Tennessee, we were there for. It wasn't even as close as a 17-point margin. Notre Dame they lose to. I feel like they're going to get in as a first 4 team because of their name. Ultimately, I do. I think they're going to get in because of their name.
Right now, that's the only reason that they would get into the NCAA tournament, because they don't have a win over a team that is anywhere near NCAA tournament worthy. Like that's the biggest issue that they have right now. And you know what the other problem is? They're not going to get that many more chances. Like this, to me, this was the game that they kind of had to win. Because if you look at it right now, I got it up in front of me. At Clemson right now is 70th in the net. Like that could end up being a quad 1 win, but who really cares? It's not moving the needle. At Virginia Tech is 13-10. That is the second best opponent left on their resume. That would be a quad 1 win if they can get it. And then at Duke in the last game of the regular season, and
they're not winning that one.
It legitimately might come down to whether or not they can beat Duke in the final game of the regular season to get into the tournament.
Hey, Rob, you know what else that game is? You know what else that game is?
What?
That would be K's last game at Cameron. You can forget about that for Carolina winning that.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be very close. And here's the thing. Right now, when I mentioned the fielding the 68 earlier, North Carolina was, I believe, one of the last 4 teams that we had in. Wake Forest is an 11 seed. Miami is a 9 seed in our bracket. Notre Dame is one of the first 4 out. Like Miami was the most comfortable team in the tournament when we did that on Friday night, and they got waxed by a Virginia team that is not really in the NCAA tournament picture right now. I mean, look, T.O., what's going on with your conference? What are we doing?
It's brutal. It's brutal. And the non-conference didn't help things, and they're just cannibalizing each other. So like anytime, and it's turned into bad losses. So if Miami goes and loses to somebody towards the bottom of the conference, it just kills you. And that's where it's at right now. And there's not as many chances to get these quad 1 wins, these quote unquote quad 1 wins. I'm not really sure what I don't know all the math with all this stuff. All I know is it's not good. It's not good. I need to figure this stuff out, but there's just not as many chances to get good wins. And you pretty much have to beat Duke. Like that's what it comes down to.
Or beat everybody else.
Exactly right.
You can lose to Duke that last game of the year. You probably got to, I don't want to say run the table. You don't need to run the table, guys. You just need to win. You got to get in the mix where you're going to be the second.
I think you might. I think you might. Right now,
no, you don't.
They do not lose. So here's the thing, Jeff. Here's the thing. Okay. If they beat everybody else and they don't beat Duke, they will have 2 quad 1 wins, assuming that Clemson is able to stay in the top 75 of the net, which is not a guarantee.
They lost to Georgia Tech today.
Yeah, they might only have one quad one win, and that is a Virginia Tech team that is 13-10 overall, and I believe 3-7 in the ACC. That would be their marquee win if they cannot beat Duke in Cameron. Now, look, you're still going to have a chance in the ACC tournament, but if you're telling me that you get to Selection Sunday and North Carolina is like 40th in the net, somewhere around there, they're going to have it would end up being about a 25-8 record, 24-8 record. And they will be 0-8 against quad one opponents, maybe 1-8 against quad one opponents. That's good. That's not a great resume.
Of
And you're
course
right.
it's not.
The fact
There's
that
going
it's
to
the
be a
North
lot of
Carolina,
other teams with shitty resumes on the bubble is all I'm saying. That's the thing you got to look at.
And
Like
here's
USC, Rob, USC right now is ranked. They're ranked. They have yet to.
Don't talk to me about the AP poll. The AP poll matters to me about as much as
USC
staying on a Zoom call matters to TO.
USC is a 7 seed before tonight. Okay. Most people have them as a 7 seed. They have yet to beat an NCAA tournament team. All I'm saying is you're putting more stock than you should. If they win enough games and they finish second or third in the ACC, Carolina is going to be in the NCAA tournament. They are.
We'll see. I'll just put it like this. And I made this point to you guys before we started the show. The Pac-12 right now has fewer good wins available than the Mountain West. The ACC has fewer good wins available than the WCC does, which is crazy to think about. San Francisco went on the road to beat BYU on Thursday night, and they beat them by 20. And like BYU stinks. They're getting run off of their own floor right now by Gonzaga. They're down by 30 midway through the second half. But that winning at BYU is a better win than anything else that North Carolina has left on their resume right now, which is wild to think about. And you're right. If North Carolina stacks up 23 wins and finishes second or third in the ACC, they're getting in the tournament. They're going to get in the tournament.
Exactly.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that they are much closer to not being in the tournament than I think people realize for a 16-7 North Carolina.
Yeah, because frankly,
one bad loss away. You put a couple bad losses on that resume,